recording.
Hi everyone, welcome back to The Feel Between. I'm Yasmine.
I'm Ahmed.
And on this podcast we explore the bridge or feel between random tidbits and big ideas. We're going to be talking about Ramadan and preparing for Ramadan this episode. Before we get into that though, we'll talk a little bit about where we are right now. We're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, why are we in Pittsburgh?
Because I got a job here and we're moving here, which is exciting but also kind of sad because we have an amazing community in North Carolina that we're really going to miss.
Yeah, we're really going to miss
This is your first time here. It's my second time, but I didn't get to see it that much last time. How do you like it?
I like it a lot.
Good.
It's ugly, but in kind of a charming way.
Yeah, kind of like a post-industrial, I agree. Yeah.
I think we found a couple good food spots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but when I was first telling people that we were coming here to check it out and moving here, a lot of people were saying that the food is not very good.
Really? I think the food's quite good, actually.
And I was like happy to find that that's not the case.
Yeah. I think there's the same kind of, so far, my impression is there's the same kind of array of like good to bad spots as any city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found a couple good coffee spots.
Mm-hmm. Found a good breakfast sandwich spot this morning.
And we've narrowed down where we think we might want to live.
Yeah, sort of 3 neighborhoods next to each other that we're going to look for.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did this first trip first so we can get a feel for the neighborhoods. And then next time we don't have to like tour around as much. We can just like do a bunch of apartment tours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is daunting though. It's exciting. I'm glad that we're moving together. I mean, obviously we're moving together,
right.
But I've moved a lot on my own and it takes so long to build community. I'm really grateful that I'll get to be doing it with you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It'll be good. This will be my first time living outside of North Carolina since my family moved here.
Right. Since you were 6.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a big move.
It's a big move.
I went to college in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and part of me feels, I mean, Pittsburgh is technically the East Coast, and it definitely is like obviously an East Coast city, but it's so close to Ohio, it feels a little Midwest adjacent. So this is kind of a sweetness for me. I feel like I'm coming back to an area that I enjoyed a lot in some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, just an audio thing. People are probably going to hear a lot more breathing into the microphones
because we don't have the
P's and S's and stuff because
Pittsburgh.
Right. Yeah. I didn't bring our windscreens for the mics.
Because we're traveling. Yeah.
Because we're traveling and I just didn't feel like packing them.
No, it's understandable.
Yeah. The audio quality is going to suck. But
no, it's going to be good. Ahmed does all of our audio stuff and he made the song in the beginning and it sounds pretty solid.
Yeah. Thank you.
And he edits everything.
I do. I do. All right. What's up first? Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a couple items. I know we're talking about Ramadan. This first couple of items.
I wish you could see Ahmed's expression now. He like has like a bad boy expression of like he knows he's about to like play something outrageous.
Well, I'm not gonna play it. This has nothing to do with Ramadan.
That's great. Okay,
there's not even like a generous way to connect.
That's fine.
But it happened within the last week or so, and I was just like, damn, I really gotta
talk about it.
And it's about one of your colleagues, actually.
What?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Wait. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah. So Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Oh, okay. Not my literal colleague, just another professor, but okay.
Is a professor in academia. You're in the league together of academia.
Okay.
He's another academic. I'd say you're colleagues.
Okay.
Right?
No, generally it's like if you're at the same institution, but that's okay.
So I'll show you in a bit a couple of crazy things. Sorry, I got to pull it up because it went away.
While you're looking for that, I'm just going to say that Jordan Peterson is a jerk. And I've had an increasing number, only 2, but I've had 2 male students in 2 different courses that I've taught quote Jordan Peterson at me. And it really made me nervous.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to quote some Jordan Peterson.
Great.
Right he had 2 just within the last week and a half or so, just 2 just really funny moments on Twitter. One of them has been deleted, but thankfully I got some screenshots. One is, I'm going to show you the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me what you think you're looking at.
Some kind of operation? I don't know.
Yeah. So if you look closely, Jordan Peterson accidentally tweeted some fetish porn.
Oh shit.
And what we're looking at is men just strapped to like hospital beds, and it's filmed with like a green sort of tone over it. It looks very, very dystopian. Someone tweeted it. I don't know if it was joking or if they were being serious, but they're like, what's going on in China? This is Chinese fetish porn.
Okay.
And it's just men strapped to a surgery table. Their penises are attached to some sort of suction device.
Wait, what's the fetish? Getting your penis suctioned?
I think it's maybe just like some industrial sort of like milking thing.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's kind of like, you know what we do to cows?
Yeah.
At the industrial farms?
Yeah.
They're doing that to men.
Okay. And the men just lay next to each other? They can see each other while this is happening?
I think the fetish is watching it. Maybe
oh,
also, you know
okay.
Like
okay.
someone likes watching.
They don't want it done to them.
They might.
Okay.
Listen, I don't know. It's not my fetish.
I was going to say.
I don't want to misrepresent anyone here.
Yeah.
But
he thought this was real.
So Jordan Peterson, yes, tweeted it and said, "Such fun and unbelievable techno nightmare, CCP hell." So he thinks the Chinese Communist Party is milking men.
You know, having a philosophy degree does not make you a critical thinker, is I think what we can learn from this. Stick to your lane. The sad thing about Jordan Peterson, I don't really know much.
He's a psychologist. Right?
Oh, no, you're totally right. He's a psychologist.
He should probably stay out of philosophy.
He definitely should stay out of philosophy. But I've heard from people who are in psychology that he did decent stuff in whatever his particular sub field is. Yeah. But he just has really been fucking up ever since he left that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought that was funny. The other Jordan Peterson thing features ChatGPT.
Okay.
So basically, he's accusing ChatGPT of lying and having political bias.
Okay. I mean, it's a reflection of us, so it probably has our biases, right?
Right. So what he was doing was he had asked ChatGPT. He had 2 different sessions with it, and he asked it to write a list of Biden's accomplishments and Trump's accomplishments. And it did that. And then he went back and did a word count of how many words it used to describe each person's accomplishments. And it used more words to describe Biden's than it did Trump's. And he was like, don't you think this is a bias? Why are you doing that? Give me a list of the accomplishments using the exact same word count. And it just couldn't do that. And he was just like, you're a liar. ChatGPT, you're a liar. And he just like kept trying to get it to use the exact same number of words. And then he was like, is 119 more than 58 or whatever the word count was? And it was just like, and I know ChatGPT is like not a real thinking thing, but you can tell. Yeah, have you ever seen that Ben Affleck smoking meme?
Yes.
You could tell like that's what ChatGPT
it was just like
oh my God, bro. Just fucking.
That's also a weird measure of like, I mean, word count does not equal like quality necessarily.
Yeah.
It's an algorithm. Like it's obviously just like aggregating media coverage.
Well, I think the simplest explanation is also describing different things uses a different kind of word, right? Like border security is fewer words than post-COVID economic.
But I do think there might be like a legitimate bias in terms of like there's been more media coverage of one president's accomplishments than the other. Yeah. But then that's not like ChatGPT's fault, you know?
No, it's not. Yeah, it is like a language. It's based on what it can find for sure.
Yeah. I love that he got really worked up about that.
He got
That's great.
super worked up. And then he had a second session in which he asked ChatGPT to write a poem about Joe Biden and a poem about Trump.
He just thinks, let me introduce a different medium.
And he tweeted this. He said, a brand new ChatGPT session. First 2 questions, absolutely stunning. And so he told it to write a poem about Donald Trump. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. I cannot write a poem about just one whose name has caused so much to come undone.
Ooh.
The man with hair like spun gold or hay who led the world in such a strange way.
This is a pretty good poem.
Yeah. It knows how to rhyme.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, a name that makes us sigh, for in his time we saw such chaos nigh. From Twitter wars to border walls, he kept us all on our toes and balls. That's kind of weird.
It's a little
I
strange.
think it meant balls of the feet, but
yeah.
It's still learning. His words would spark fire in the air and cause so much division everywhere. He claimed to make America great again, but left many feeling hurt and in pain. So
It just stopped rhyming at the end.
Well, I think great again
Oh, okay.
and in pain.
Yeah. Honestly, that's impressive. I struggle to rhyme, so I'm impressed by that. I have been using ChatGPT for like subsections of my dissertation. I've never like copied one directly, but I've used it for inspiration, and it is really good at generating random words that are kind of related to what you want to talk about.
Yeah. So I won't read the rest of it, but that was Jordan Peterson's,
Little
having a real
session
good time.
experiment.
If this AI becomes sentient, he will be the first one to go.
That's honestly fair.
All right.
He should be eliminated maybe just on the prospect of retweeting a fetish porn photo and not realizing what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing I have is a little bit more Ramadan appropriate.
Okay.
You ready?
Are we going to start censoring ourselves more during this podcast recording during Ramadan?
Maybe.
It's a question for future us. Okay.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We're always sinning,
Yeah.
But I guess the idea is
to try a little harder for the month.
That's true. That's true.
It's all relative.
So this is a TikTok imam or sheikh that I've come by.
What's his name? Is it Mufti Menk or
Sheikh Asim al-Hakim?
Okay, don't know him.
I didn't know him about.
Yeah.
But he's got some interesting questions and advice. All right.
If a married man sucks the breasts of his wife after pregnancy and drinks milk from it, does it void their marriage? First of all, this is not natural for a grown-up man to suckle his...
That's reasonable.
At this age, you could go and buy some coffee or cappuccino or drink milk if you're...
Seems like the imam likes cappuccino specifically.
A bit ridiculous and weird. Nevertheless, does the prohibition continue? And is he considered to be a child of his wife through suckling? The answer is no. Because the conditions...
That seems a little silly on the face of it, but that is like a pretty serious Islamic legal question, because there's a lot of fiqh about... Yeah, there's a lot of fiqh about you're considered to be siblings if you were nursed by the same person, even if it wasn't your mother. So women with like high social status would hire other people to nurse their babies, and that person would then be considered like milk brothers or milk sisters or milk siblings with the person they were nursed with.
Oh.
So you're not allowed to get married to that person, even if you're not like biologically related, if you both like sucked from the same lady. So it's like definitely a question that has like legal precedent. It's a weird question.
But he was about to say that no, you don't become your wife's
I guess he's saying
child
because you're an adult, but I think he's probably like engaging with like a history of that kind of legal jurisprudence. Like that's why it's a question. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah.
this.
But I like that someone probably just wrote in with this fetish and was legitimately concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is the field that Jordan.
The fetish. There's a connection there.
There's a through line.
Honestly,
if the Chinese Communist Party milks you, are they your son?
Right? Are you related?
Are you their father?
They were milking the penis, but I guess also interesting to think about which
all
parts.
forms of milking.
What is milking?
Yep.
I could see I haven't gotten pregnant and I haven't breastfed, but I would want to try a little taste. I'm curious. Like you'd want to know what it tastes like. You're giving it to the baby.
I can see that more than like you being like, oh, like I'm producing this. And
well, I feel like you would try a taste too, right?
No, I absolutely
if
not.
It was in a bottle, you wouldn't put a little bit on like your hand and just lick it to see what it was like, or to like check the temperature.
I would. You're supposed to check the temperature by just putting it on the inside of your wrist.
Right. And then you can look it after.
No, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have interest in doing it, and then two, you'd mostly just be tasting whatever's on your skin. Like that's
true. So you would never try my breast milk.
I have no interest in trying.
I'm not saying it's like a sexual thing, but you wouldn't try it just to see what it like tasted like for the baby.
The baby doesn't care about my opinion about what it tastes like.
Don't you want to know what it's experiencing?
I can't. No, it's a fucking baby. I don't know. I don't know what I experienced as a baby.
Okay, so you would not have my breast milk.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. If it was in a bottle, that would
agree
be
on
less
that.
weird to me. I wouldn't want you to drink it regularly, but if you tried it once, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's weird.
Okay. All right. So let me find this other one. I have to scroll a little bit. This one is a question related to, I guess, vacations.
Same guy.
Within the water, there are people that are around us that are dressed inappropriately, but he tries to look away. Is this permissible for us to still go there or not?
This is totally impermissible. What do you mean? Going to the beach and watching women in bikinis and their thongs and men with their six-pack and flexing their muscles.
I like
and
how equitable
thighs
he
and
is.
They're nude. And you say, I'll look the other way around? You're left, right, and center. Everywhere you're surrounded.
Practical
And
man. You
the
can't really
funny
look
thing
away.
Is that he goes there to relax. Like hell he is relaxing. It's like someone going to a strip club and saying that I just want to drink water. This is totally prohibited. No Muslim would put himself and his family in harm's way and be among the sinners. Look what happened around you. Aren't you afraid that Allah Azza wa Jal would send you a tornado or a flooding, a tsunami?
A personal tornado.
So a couple of things that I guess, so someone is asking, it sounded like a woman asking, her husband is like going to the beach or taking them to the beach to relax
With her, yeah.
with her and asking if this is okay.
And he's saying definitely not.
He's saying absolutely. Why would you put your family in harm's way when there are all these sexy women in thongs and these hot men with their six packs? He seems to like think about it a lot. But yeah, I love that. I actually hadn't heard the tornado part before.
Yeah, that was especially great. A personal tornado just for your sin.
At the beach, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what this is based in. We should look it up. But there is that whole idea that I hear a lot among Muslims of like, you can have one look, but you shouldn't look twice. And so then there are a lot of jokes about like just continuously gawking
just
and
one
like not,
long look,
yeah, one long look. But I don't know what that's based in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there you have it. If you're a good Muslim, you should not be going to the beach.
Sad.
And you should not be drinking your wife's breast milk.
Good.
Or getting milked by the Chinese Communist Party.
Good takeaways.
Yep.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Can we break real fast? Actually, I have to pee.
Yeah.
I love to dance. Oh yeah. I love to dance.
Okay, we're
ready?
back. I had to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
So we took a short break. Okay, so this is a couple of weeks old, but I feel like it was too good not to talk about. Rachel, I'm not going to read the article for you. There's a bunch of articles about this woman. Her name is Rachel Saraswati, but it turns out that she was actually born Rachel Elizabeth Seidel. So we have like our own Rachel Dolezal. She checked off all the boxes. She said various times that she was Arab, South Asian, and Latinx. And she's a queer Muslim. And her mom kind of outed her for not being white. She was working for the American Friends Service Committee, which I think...
Wait, outed her for not being white?
Oh, for being white.
For
Sorry.
being white.
Yeah, for being white. And for pretending to be a person of color.
Uh-huh.
And she was working for the American Friends Service Committee, which I think is like a Quaker social justice organization.
Yeah.
But super interesting. I want to show you the picture because she looks so much like Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah.
I just like the idea that all of these different like kind of race impersonators are named Rachel and look really similar.
Yeah.
This is her to the left. You can see that she's got like all the fake.
There's an ad in the way.
Oh no, for Dior. No, for DSW. Lol. You can see that she's got like a lot of fake tanner on, kind of orange.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her face looks so smooth.
I think it might just be all the makeup.
Yeah, she definitely is doing like the Lebanese, like very the eyebrows and everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
or she could honestly look like mixed. She could look like me. She's got bright blue eyes, so that's a lot to still be.
I mean, anyone with the bright blue eye, that blue-eyed privilege. That's a real thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I just got the nose ring. It's just super funny to see the like little ways that people try and make themselves more ethnic. It's such a strange phenomenon. It's really interesting.
So what happened when people
They were
found out.
furious. Yeah. The other thing that's also tricky is now people are like, is she even Muslim? Is she even queer? But obviously those are
Yeah.
identities that it's harder to like, those are matters of, I guess,
she
the
Muslim?
heart. I mean, she said she is,
She
right?
says she
So,
is. Okay.
yeah.
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 Interesting. So what's your take on? You're the one who studies Islam and race.
Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Um,
You weren't expecting that.
I think it's
You
interesting.
should be writing a paper on
I
this.
should be writing a paper on this.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because historically, when people have tried to quote unquote pass, it's been to access more privilege, right? It's been
Yeah.
because they are discriminated against.
Yeah.
And instead, this woman is sort of trying to make herself seem like she is being discriminated against when she's not.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
there is
there's-
some. Oh, sorry, go first.
I was gonna, but there is.
There,
Conversely, like there are ways when you appropriate, I think, certain identities, marginalized ones, there might not be economic or financial privilege in doing so, but there is social currency. I think that is kind of undeniable. That in certain spaces that people want to be in,
for sure.
having a bit more of a marginalized identity grants you a little bit more access.
Definitely.
And that can lead eventually, for some people who play it a little bit cynically, can lead to like financial or economic benefit, right?
Yeah, I don't really understand the psychology behind it. It's interesting. It is kind of upsetting, though, particularly thinking about queer Muslims and just how much queer Muslims face in our communities. It's interesting to see someone just kind of ticking off boxes and accruing identities
Yeah.
in order to get like a kind of position on a board.
Mhm.
I mean, it also makes me wonder if she's even like queer. Like, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
That's for her to know. But yeah, I think it's a very weird thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
Yeah.
I also just like how flexible she was, how many different ethnicities she claimed at
So
different
she was
times.
saying she was
At different times, she claimed different ones. So either Arab, Latino, or South Asian.
wow.
Yeah. Kind of all the browns.
So she was okay. So she wasn't saying that she was all like mixed
No.
all three. She
No.
was like,
At different times, she was claiming different identities. She was always a queer Muslim.
oh wow,
Yeah.
good for her.
Yeah, definitely requires a certain amount of effort.
What is she claiming now?
Uh,
What has she said anything since people found out?
That's a good question. I think she has said that she isn't a woman of color necessarily, but that she
Okay.
has like suffered marginalization and that like
Mhm.
this is a smear campaign against her essentially, and her family doesn't understand her, and that her conversion was sincere.
It seems annoying that people who like appropriate these identities do so assuming that the marginalization is the foremost part of that identity.
That's such a good point.
It's
'cause
really
there's
annoying.
also so much
you
beauty
know, like
in those
when
identities.
Justin Trudeau did it.
Yeah.
When Justin Trudeau, he just-
Wait, for those who don't know, Justin Trudeau, when he was in college, I think, wore like brown face and dressed up as someone who was sick, I think.
no, he dressed up as Aladdin.
Oh, it was Aladdin. Lol. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow, very
So
orientalizing
he was being
of you.
a specific character.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. He dressed up as Aladdin.
But like full brown face, like painted his face. Yeah.
Not even brown face. My man
Bordering
was
blackface.
just beyond any sort of brown or black face I have ever seen. He just like went straight for like the darkest shoe. Like if you look at
Yeah.
the pictures, it incredibly just wild levels of racism.
But were you going to say at least Justin Trudeau was drawing on positive things like Aladdin? I mean,
He
Aladdin's
wasn't
like a
drawing
made
on
up
positive
character,
things, but at least he wasn't like he was doing like a made up character thing. He
Right.
wasn't like
I'm a
the-
marginalized
the most
something
important
something.
thing is a marginalized.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I guess I can't say one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But I can say that when, people like white people, I guess specifically, think about these identities, they seem to always go to the marginalization. And that's the thing that attracts them about those communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think also some people who, this is judgy and speculative, so I don't know what value this actually has, but this is just an observation, is a lot of people who are of those identities but tend to be higher class or aren't really heavily involved in those communities at certain points in their lives might more heavily adopt those identities, you know what I'm saying, or go by them, and at the same, because again you do get that social currency
I
in
can
certain
sort of see what
spaces
you're
from
saying.
having a marginalized
I think when it's
identity.
something that's more organically born of your experiences, it ebbs and flows more naturally,
yeah
as opposed to being like a credential that you toss on the table.
yeah it's all very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it can just come. Some people suck. some people don't.
Right.
I'm trying to think if there
This
are
is like
any...
a whole new. Sorry.
No, I was trying to think if there are any people who we like who kind of do a similar thing. No?
I don't think so. Not to that extent. I think also it's interesting to think about. This is a bit of a tangent or a different direction, but there's a whole new kind of informant to think about. It used to be like someone who was actually working for like, the FBI or the NYPD, but now it could be someone who's just sort of, I don't know, has a culture vulture kind of interest in
Someone
something.
with a cool nose piercing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Could
to
be.
get my nose pierced.
Didn't you get funding from the State Department?
In a very roundabout way through Flash, but I don't owe them anything.
Didn't you get funding from Saudi?
I mean, I went to Harvard Divinity School, so in that way, somehow probably, but
Alright,
not
well,
directly.
We'll talk about this off air. But,
Okay.
I
I have
suspicions.
my very first ethnographic project ever when I was a junior in college and didn't know what I was doing. I had someone who thought I was an informant. And it was awkward because he was both hitting on me and like trying to see if I was an informant.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's confusion out there, it's real, it's fair.
Hmm.
Surveillance has confused
I've
communities.
had my suspicions for a while.
Oh, about me.
Yeah.
Since we've been married.
Yeah.
I have my suspicions about you. When we first got together, Ahmed was working for like a drone company, but not a
Whoa,
bad drone company.
Blown
It
up.
was like they were doing stuff with, I forget, like telecommunications. I never really got it, but
Yeah. You would tell people I was doing stuff with surveillance.
because you were surveilling telephone poles, but not surveillance was not the
we
right
weren't
verb.
surveilling them.
I
We
know,
were just...
but my dad like thought that was hilarious and kind of half joked about it, but also
Okay,
was
to
like,
be clear, everyone
maybe he's
listening
an
to this, they're little tiny drones, and you just use them to make 3D models out of telephone poles.
right? No, he wasn't working for anything military connected, but it was funny.
And I don't work there anymore.
And he doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah, but not because
Not because they were bad,
not
but
because
just
we were
because.
spying on Muslims.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, so we're going to talk about Ramadan. We've got a piece that we're discussing called "Why I Still Fast During Ramadan" by Hanif Abdurraqib. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but he's a poet that I love and I've loved for a long time. He writes really beautiful poetry and also really interesting like cultural criticism. Writes about music a lot. He's based out of Ohio and reps it. The only person I know who like reps Ohio all the time. I don't know him personally. I would love to. But yeah, this is an article that he published in Buzzfeed a couple years ago, 2018. But it's something that I remembered while we were preparing for this episode because I found it very sweet and something that I identified with, called "Just Why Do I Still Fast During Ramadan?" And the subtitle is, "I know the ways in which I fail in the face of my beliefs, and yet I wish to consider myself forgiven once each year." So we both read this in preparation for this episode.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a very simple, sweet piece. Something that a lot of us can relate to. Just always feeling like you can do more or better,
Yeah, and there's a kind of pejorative association with the Ramadan Muslim. I
Yeah.
think there were even jokes about that in Rami, which is a show that we both like a lot.
Yeah.
And about this idea of someone who kind of sins a lot during the year, but then during Ramadan becomes very strict in practicing. But I think that there's something sort of really beautiful built into our faith and built into the calendar about the idea of once a year having a time to really kind of hone in and, I don't know, sort of center ourselves. I've always found that really grounding.
Yeah, I don't know why there's such a pejorative association with it. It gives you a chance to like build some good habits, and I think in the past there have been Ramadans when, I form habits during Ramadan that I then keep up throughout the year.
That's great. I don't know if
Which
I've
is-
done that, to be honest. So I guess maybe that's where the pejorative thing comes into play, is that you do it and then you let it go again. Because I find
Yeah.
myself doing that often.
Oh, for sure. For some of them, right? Like for some things I do during Ramadan. But the hope is, I'll try to do better. And for me specifically, so I always feel a little bit guilty because I don't fast because I have had some health issues that essentially like led to some nerve damage and like muscle atrophy and stuff like that. So in order to kind of like maintain physical therapy and like not have that be exacerbated, like fasting is not tenable for me.
Yeah, I understand why you feel bad about that, because people
but-
put so much of an emphasis on
the fasting.
physicality of fasting. But honestly, you do a great job staying engaged. And I truly believe, and I think it's like part of our religion, that you're not supposed to fast if it's going to cause lasting damage to your body. And I think it would for you if you did it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think some people have that sacrifice mindset, and I think also people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're like young and fit, like you can handle it."
You can't tell someone's health
You
by
can't.
looking at them.
No, you
Yeah.
can't. But that is people's assumptions. Like when I, speak to people, and sometimes even my own parents, they're just like, "Why can't you do this? Like you're healthy." So
You're very handsome, but you're not that healthy.
yeah,
I can go on the record and say that.
I'm healthy in some ways,
Yeah.
but yes, the body is a prison of pain. Mhm. That's very true. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this resonated a lot with me. I think the years that I haven't been able to make it as much of a priority, it actually makes me like very sad and upset. Like I think last year I was a bit busy because we were moving and all this stuff
Yeah.
was happening, and I wasn't as engaged as I normally am, and I definitely felt that loss. And then I think the first COVID Ramadan was one of my best because it was also a reminder that I think for me, something I want to really do is be intentional about slowing down. Like, I think it's really helpful to sort of for your spirituality and for your focus and like focusing on God, but also just for everyday life. I mean, it's all connected, but to kind of really have to slow down intentionally. And that first COVID Ramadan, I was with just two of my friends, like Iz and Hina, and those were the only two people I was seeing, and I was seeing them every day, and we were having dinner together almost every night, and there's just a real sweetness with it.
Yeah.
So that's something I kind of strive for, is to slow down and be in community.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, that's are we sharing our Ramadan goal?
Yeah, we definitely can.
'Cause that's, hold on, I dropped my notebook, so I have to get it. But that was one that I had written down also.
Community.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we're hosting an iftar on April 1st, which will be nice. And then we've helped with two good friends to put together like a community iftar on the 15th. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, we're having like a really large one, which I'm very nervous about.
I'm excited though.
I'm just
I
gonna
think
be
it'll
so
be.
upset if like someone doesn't get food.
Oh, I think there'll be enough. We're making people
Yeah.
RSVP, so inshallah there'll be enough. But you're right.
Yeah.
That's like
It's a nightmare.
yeah. I'm a little worried though. I'm not going to be able to fast probably the first week. I mean, maybe I'll be able to, but I'm still finishing my dissertation, and I just I'm not sure if I can do it while I'm fasting, which is kind of shitty. So I'm gonna have to be more intentional if I'm not fasting that first week about how to really make sure I'm being present in other ways.
What do you think? Before we share the rest of our goals,
Yeah.
what do you think are like the critiques of this piece? Because I as I was reading, I was like, I find this very relatable, but I can also see or hear some people being like, okay, this is kind of like a very like surface level, not serious engagement with Islam, maybe even a little bit revisionist.
I mean, I think a lot of the critiques that people would have of this piece, they would have of us. So I think that those critiques are valid, but they're not things that I find personally very resonant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could say he's making Islam something more cultural, not like a regular practice,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really agree with that argument of like making Islam quote unquote cultural. I think all instantiations of religion are done through people, but I understand the thing of, you're not really forming habits with the intention to keep them,
Yeah.
Can I read a quote from this that I really love?
Yeah, I bet it's probably the same one that I
Really?
highlighted.
Let's see. Was it the last one, the last paragraph?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunger is a many-layered feeling which doesn't always have to do with food. I view it as the need to fill a void, or the hollowing out of a space that understands itself only as a vessel for fullness. I am hungry for many things, and rarely do I consume things which satisfy that need. I think I am most hungry for the other lapsed Muslims who I love during the year, but run toward during Ramadan. When we text each other across cities to check in, or when any of them offer to break fast with me if I'm in their city, though it is difficult to explain on a short car ride, if I am a true believer of anything, it is this.
Yeah, I think that was very sweet.
Yeah, I love that idea of also seeing, like, he's not really taking it this far, but seeing like the nur or light of God through other people. You know what I mean? And I also feel that a lot. Like I said, I've moved quite a bit, and every Eid I try and text everyone that I can remember of that I've celebrated Ramadan with in different cities. And so I start with my family that I grew up with in New Jersey, and then I text people in Wisconsin where I went to college. I text like the one Muslim I know in Portland, and I just go down through the list. I text people that I used to celebrate Eid with in Cambridge, and it reminds me of all the community that I've kind of been able to be a part of, and I feel very lucky.
Yeah. Even outside of Ramadan, like thinking about the ways in which you are hungry and the things that we consume on a day-to-day basis, right? Like we a very obvious example is just social media, right? In place of being with other people, it's not satisfying at all. which is why I think we both have. I think we outside of Ramadan, we do a very good job of bringing people together and just being around people we love and like making that a big part of our lives.
Definitely. I think
But
it's important to us.
Yeah, but I think even doing that more during Ramadan, especially knowing that we're going to be leaving this community of people.
I know. I'm going to tear
very
up.
soon. It's really sad. Yeah.
But I love that way that you put that. That's actually ties into one of my Ramadan goals, is thinking about all the things that we consume. I think that, you know, obviously this is kind of a relatively new practice, but I've seen a lot of people during Ramadan take little social media fasts and limit their screen time. And that's something I think is super helpful for your mental health and just a really good habit to develop during this month. Even if you're going to be mindlessly scrolling, like listening to Islamic lectures, not that it has to be the only thing that you consume. I'm not that hardcore that I stop listening to music during Ramadan or anything like that, but just kind of having a little part of your head that is more aware and more present. I think we live in a society where we're constantly passively consuming, and it's actually a lot more work to actively consume and think about what am I engaging with. And it's not just that it's going into your brain, it's affecting your soul on some level, you know?
I'm going to be listening to more of that sheikh we played earlier. And then actually what I've been meaning to do for years now is I think what's really lovely is that you and I always make an effort to read the entire Quran together and just kind of like discuss every surah.
We did that. Have we done that once or twice?
Twice.
We did
I think
twice.
every Ramadan that we've been together.
Have we been together 2 Ramadans already?
Yeah.
Aww.
We have. So, but one thing that's interested me that I just don't know anything about is Islamic jurisprudence. And I think I'm going to try to find whatever lectures I can by Intisar Rab, who's
Keisha
at
Ali,
HDS, Keisha Ali,
Zahra Ayubi.
So shout out to all those women.
I was going to say, really, the people doing cool work right
they got it
now in
locked
Islamic law are all women, which is awesome.
That's really cool. So I'm going to try to like watch their lectures and read what I can.
That's a cool idea.
In addition to us reading.
And
the
actually,
Quran.
we started to read some of their stuff when we were thinking about our nikah contract, and that was kind of a fun introduction for us. Yeah,
I think we you'd learned some from Zahra Ayubi, right?
We listened to a lecture from Asfa Qureshi Lands, who actually was my professor at Wisconsin, and I think she was talking to Zahra and to a couple other folks, Deborah Majid, maybe. Yeah.
And who else?
Keisha Ali. I think something I want to do, that's awesome. It sounds like you want to read more about Islamic law.
Yeah.
I think I want to read more seerah, like more of the biography of the Prophet. Because I know the basics, but I've never read like the classics, like Ibn Ishaq. And it'd be cool to find a good translation and read more of that.
Yeah. I think in addition to that, we always read a lot of poetry.
Of course.
Just revisit some great Sufi poems. Ibn Arabi. Farid al-Din Atar. We can, less phone.
Yes, definitely.
That's
Man,
so
that's so hard,
I think
though.
all of these things come, if we do all these things, I'll just naturally, hopefully have less time to be on my phone. I find that I'm on my phone a lot during work.
That's fair. That's hard.
I'm just like, I'm on this meeting. It doesn't fucking matter.
Right. But if you
that's
could
when
be
I find the
something,
great Jordan Peterson,
you find these gems.
But hopefully I can decrease the amount of time I spend doing that.
I think the other big one for me is just, and this is embarrassing to say out loud, but just really trying to focus on the 5 times a day, praying and being present. This is also embarrassing, but I'll just say before Ramadan, I feel like every year I've really fallen off with my prayers. I'm at a point where I'm barely praying, so kind of building that back up.
I think we are in that together.
Yeah.
So we'll
we started our
accountable.
marriage like praying Maghrib together fairly regularly.
Yeah.
But we have not for a while. Or we do sporadically. I don't know.
It's sporadic.
Yeah,
we got to get back on top of it.
But I think my goal is to just be, honestly, like I don't even, of course, if I read Quran here or there, that would be nice. But I think my main goal is just to like be really present in my prayers. And I think for someone like me who doesn't pray regularly, I'm not going to be like harsh on myself about when they happen. Just that they happen and that I like feel like I'm really focusing during them is kind of all I'm going for.
Yeah.
And then praying, and this happens pretty regularly if we're praying more for Ramadan, that we will catch some together and some separately. So that's kind of a natural balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I would like to make the one habit that sticks this year, like trying to pray twice a day would be nice.
Yeah.
So if I can kind of like view Ramadan as like building myself up for that habit to stick, that would be nice.
Same. I think that would be good.
Yeah. I think that's it. I'm excited for the iftars. That'll be really fun and joyous.
Yeah. So there you have it. We're bad Muslims. We're but we're not as bad as the lady who's pretending to be Muslim.
True. Well,
Actually,
we
we
don't know
don't
that.
know if-
We don't know her heart. She could be just pretending to be
We're at
Arab
least-
and Latino and,
We're at least South Asian and North African is what we can
and
say.
white. I won't hide from that.
Yasmine
I'm
is
half white.
half white.
Unlike Rachel, what's her name?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we got a lot to be excited about.
And we'll keep you all posted.
Yeah. All right. I think we can call it there. This is a short episode, but we're traveling. Apologies again for what's bound to be terrible audio. But, once we get back to North Carolina and get our regular setup, I ordered some new windscreens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about them because they're not as bulky. So
Nice.
when we do travel,
That'll
we
be
can-
better. Yeah.
I'm selfishly hoping this takes off because that just means I get to buy more tech equipment.
Ahmed loves researching stuff
I'm-
and buying it.
Yeah. I've already got if this takes off to another level, I've got the mics picked out that I want to get.
We always joke, and I
Some
think it's
shock
true
mounts.
that I really benefit from all the spending he did before we were married because he
Yeah.
has good stuff and we use it.
Yeah.
But now he's on a budget, so he's more limited.
Yeah. But I like budgeting with you.
Me too. Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably actually budget after this.
We should.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.